In Honduras, the National Electoral Council provided the preliminary results of the general elections with 34.25% of the votes counted, showing that Nasser Yasfura, the candidate for the right-wing National Party, is leading the polls. The Venezuelan Assembly announced that it will propose the creation of a commission to investigate the killings of Venezuelans in the Caribbean by U.S. military. Pope Leo XIV reviewed his call for peace after his arrival in Lebanon, amidst tension over Israel's escalation in the Middle East. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Sofia Fernandez from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Stay with us. The preliminary results from the National Electoral Council, CNE, of the general elections in Honduras, which show an advantage for the right-wing candidate Nasser Yasfura from the National Party, confirmed the claim by the Libre Party that they are not reliable, after only counting 34.25% of the votes. The Sunday elections have been marked by foreign intervention by U.S. President Donald Trump, who, days before the elections, publicly endorsed right-wing presidential candidate Nasser Yasfura. For its part, the ruling party, Libre, stated that they anticipated irregularities in the election process, when current President Xiomara Castro and presidential candidate Rixi Moncada denounced the hacking of the preliminary elections result transmission system. According to statements from Electoral Council President Ana Paula Hall, the preliminary results of the presidential elections for the 2026-2030 term are given after counting 34.25% of the votes. The polls are led by Nasser Yasfura, the candidate from the right-wing National Party, followed by Salvador Nasrallah from the right-wing Liberal Party and Rixi Moncada from the ruling Liberty and Refoundation Party. For her part, the presidential candidate for the Libre and Refoundation Party, Libre, Rixi Moncada, posted her reaction to the results published by the National Electoral Council. In her X account, Moncada stated, "I am grateful for the Libre Party and our people, who overwhelmingly voted for my proposal for economic and democratic reform. I urge to remain steadfast in your struggle until we obtain the final result with 100% of the presidential majors and congressional ballots counted." She also added, "Tomorrow at a press conference, I will announce my political position regarding the presidential results published by the National Electoral Council." In today's new episode of Honduras on the Move, our special envoy Roberto Hugo Presa takes us to learn about an important social program that is transforming the lives of thousands of women in that Central American nation. We go to Tegucigalpa, the Honduran capital.
More than half of Honduras's inhabitants are women. According to recent censuses, the female population is approximately 5.28 million, which represents 53.4% of an estimated population of 10.8 million inhabitants. Woman City is a program that serves the female population, and today one of its 6 headquarters opened its doors to us.
Woman City is a strategic public institution of the state where we improve the living conditions of women, adolescents, and girls. Woman City was created in 2016 in response to demands from women's and feminist organizations. In 2018, we became a public policy of the state with technical, financial, legal, and administrative autonomy, and in 2022, when the National Institute for Women, INAM, was elevated to the rank of state secretariat, we were attached to it as the executing entity for gender public policies.
In the last 4 years under a government led by a woman, this project has empowered thousands of them.
But beyond that, it is the obligation of this government to serve women and provide them with quality services with warmth, under a feminist approach for these women, and also generating dignified care and not just numbers. When I say 3.5 million services, that means the impact on the lives of many women in this country, adolescents, and especially girls who see that their future is changing, and that is thanks to this government.
Daily, around 300 women arrive to request different services. It is comprehensive care with professionals from various areas.
There are 6 attention modules, a module for women's rights. We have a module for sexual and reproductive health, community education, economic autonomy, attention to adolescents. The module with the most demand is the sexual and reproductive health module. We have a polyclinic that provides primary care to women. We provide psychological care, general medicine, but we also work a lot on preventing cervical cancer and breast cancer. We provide counseling services in sexual health, reproductive health, vocational guidance in which we try to guide girls who are not studying to return to their studies. And if they don't want to continue studying, then insert them into courses.
Ana Funes took the course and now boosts her artisanal jewelry business.
I came to Woman City for a medical consultation since I am a cancer survivor and have had to get medical checkups. I came here looking for a medical consultation, waiting my turn. I was working on my earrings, making my earrings, and someone approached and said, "Congratulations, you work so beautifully," and told me about Woman City, about the opportunity we had as entrepreneurs and what we undertake. And so I went, I looked for it and brought my earrings, and they said, "Excellent," and they gave me the opportunity to be here.
And while mothers receive services, children are cared for in a small daycare. But there is also a school
where any woman can come to study, whether a 14 or 15-year-old girl with a baby or without a baby. Well, there are 70-year-old ladies studying, some in 6th grade, others learning to read, others in high school, and we are seeing that now there is no excuse to stop studying, and there is no age limit to keep preparing.
In a new stage, Woman City is bringing its services closer to communities across the country. More than half of Honduras's inhabitants are women.
And now we have a short break coming up. But first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro denounced the United States' intention to seize the oil reserves of the Bolivarian territory through military force. In a letter sent to the Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and its member nations, as well as those of the OPEC Plus, President Maduro said that since mid-August of this year, President Donald Trump has carried out a campaign of harassment and threats against Venezuela that clearly undermines regional and international peace, security, and stability. The president emphasized that this intention does not only violate provisions that promote peaceful coexistence among nations, but also endangers the stability of Venezuelan oil production and the international market. In addition, Nicolás Maduro reaffirmed that Venezuela will firmly defend its natural energy resources and will not succumb to blackmail or threats. For his part, U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed on Sunday he held a phone call with his Venezuelan counterpart Nicolás Maduro.
Phone call with Maduro, did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit
No,
about
I can't
it?
do that.
Mr. President, would you say it went well?
wouldn't say it went well or badly. It was a phone call. Yeah.
Also in Venezuela, the National Assembly announced that it would propose the creation of a commission to investigate the killings of Venezuelans in the Caribbean by the U.S. military. Parliament President Jorge Rodriguez called an extraordinary meeting for Monday to approve the proposal for the creation of a special commission and denounced the silence by the international community in relation to Washington's crimes. At the same time, Rodriguez called the U.S. actions murders, arguing that it cannot be considered war crimes in the absence of a declared armed conflict. Rodriguez also denounced that families of the victims have been threatened to keep them from denouncing publicly what had happened with their loved ones.
We inform you that tomorrow, Monday, we will convene an extraordinary session of the National Assembly for the purpose of proposing the formation of a commission of deputies, a special commission, to investigate the serious events that led to the murder of Venezuelans in the Caribbean Sea.
Que condujeron al asesinato de venezolanos en aguas del Mar Caribe.
We have even studied some of the reflections and analyses made by the United States of America itself, military experts, and experts in international law, and they point out that if this situation had occurred during acts of war, we would be talking about war crimes.
Si esta situación se hubiera dado en hechos de guerra, estaríamos hablando de crímenes de guerra. Es decir, si hubiera
In other words, if there had been a declared war, and that declared war had led to these murders, we would be talking about war crimes, and we will then briefly explain what we are referring to. But since there is no declared war between countries, what happened or what has been happening cannot be classified as anything other than murders.
We have a second short break coming up. Before, we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, where you will be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, but we'll be right back with more from the South. Don't go away. Pope Leo XIV renewed his call for peace after his arrival in Lebanon, amidst tension over Israel's escalation in the Middle East. On Sunday, the Supreme Pontiff received an emotional welcome at the Beirut International Airport by Lebanese President Joseph Aoun and Prime Minister Nawaf Salam. According to the official agenda, the Pope will visit 5 cities during his stay in the eastern country until Tuesday, December 2nd. With his visit, the Supreme Pontiff wishes to bring a message of solidarity and peace to the region. As part of security measures, authorities have banned drone flights in light of the continued Israeli aggression. In Palestine, the Israeli army attacked several areas of the Gaza Strip, violating the ceasefire in effect since October 10th, while intensifying its military operations in the occupied West Bank. The attacks included helicopter gunfire and combat aircraft bombing of the southern cities of Khan Yunis and Rafah, as well as intense fire near Morak axis and airstrikes against the Al Bureij refugee camp. Moreover, a large-scale operation to demolish Palestinian structures was started during the night of Sunday. The violation of this ceasefire has had a devastating human cost. According to official data, more than 350 Palestinians have been killed and more than 900 injured since the deal came into effect. In other news, in the northwest of the Democratic Republic of Congo, at least 20 people died and several remain missing after a boat capsized on the Mai Ndombe Lake. According to resident testimonies, the boat, which was traveling from the town of Kiri to Kinshasa, capsized between the villages of Bobeni and Lobeke on Thursday night. In this scenario, the local diocese confirmed that among the dead is a newly ordained Catholic deacon. So far, the governor of Maindombe, Kevani Koso, has stated that the government has not yet issued an official figure for the number of victims or survivals, as it is waiting for details from the rescue teams. Boat capsizes are common in Central African countries, where poor road conditions force the population to use ship-overloaded wooden boats with a shortage of life jackets. Moving on to the Philippines, thousands of protesters, including members of the Catholic Church clergy, took to the streets of Manila to demand the persecution and resignation of officials implicated in corruption cases related to flood control. The main protest took place in the people-powered monument on EDSA Highway, with the support of Catholic churches that coordinated anti-corruption actions at the district level. Meanwhile, other groups demanded the resignation and persecution of officials involved in corruption associated with flood control projects that were never completed or proved defective. In this context, more than 17,000 riot police officers were deployed in the Manila metropolitan area due to the demonstrations. Meanwhile, in China, the government of Hong Kong's Special Administrative Region is providing free accommodation to victims of the fire in Tai Po. Authorities reported that they are looking to relocate more than 1,900 victims to temporary housing within 1 or 2 weeks. They also announced the temporary allocation of 6,400 per household for the needs of those affected. Authorities also stated that the Office of the Comptroller General will monitor the use of the funds to ensure they are allocated correctly. The Hong Kong Independent Commission Against Corruption announced the arrest of 3 more suspects involved in the Tai Po fire, bringing the total number of arrests to 11. In other news, in Germany, thousands of protesters took to the streets to reject the creation of the new youth wing for the far-right party Alternative for Germany. Although the demonstrations were peaceful, several confrontations with the police occurred. In this scenario, nearly 5,000 agents were deployed, who confronted the protesters with water cannons. It is estimated that the number of attendees exceeded 25,000 people, who denounced the new youth section of the radical right-wing party in the country. Let's recall that Alternative for Germany was forced to dissolve its previous youth wing after the German authorities declared it an extremist organization. In other news, airports around the world experienced flight disruptions after European company Airbus announced the review of 6,000 A320 aircraft for an urgent control software update. The announcement was made after an incident in the United States, where a JetBlue A320 aircraft suffered a malfunction during a flight between Cancun and Newark. The pilots had to make an emergency landing in Tampa, injuring some passengers. According to Airbus, these 6,000 aircrafts will receive an urgent update to their control softwares due to their exposure to possible risks from solar radiation. The company explained that intense solar radiation could corrupt data vital to the operation of aircraft's control systems, adding that the software update could take weeks for just 1,000 aircrafts. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on the website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social media. We're on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Sophie Fernandez. Thank you for watching.